Welcome to another episode of the Koori Knockout Podcast. This is the first episode coming off the back of the 2024 Knockout. A big weekend for WAC, big weekend for everyone though. Joined again today by Dino Witters, Trenny Rose and Tyson Hodge on debut. Tyson, tell us who you are, tell us who your mob is. Tell us what you did on the weekend.
Tyson Hodge. All my family from Walgett. My father's a Simpson, and my nan and pop were born out in Walgett, and proud Walgett man. Yeah.
And how'd it feel to win the knockout, bro?
Yeah, it was unreal. It was a crazy feeling. It's only sort of started to sink in over the last couple of days, but after we won it, like just all the fam and all the cousins and everyone just celebrating, just brought so much joy and happiness into my life and all my family and like the community of Walgett and stuff. So it's a feeling that it's just indescribable. So.
What was your favourite moment from the weekend?
Just hanging out with all the family and all the stuff, everything. Just hanging, with all the family and just soaking up every sort of moment and especially on the footy field, just rubbing shoulders with the boys and just going to battle with them and it was unbelievable.
You spent a lot of time on that rubbing table.
Yeah, I know. You got after a big 6 days of footy or 6 games of footy, so.
Felt like 6 days.
Oh, yeah, I'm still recovering actually. Just, so sore. But it's all worth it in the end.
No, you did well, cousin. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Georgie.
Boys.
He was telling us he was nervous to jump on.
I know. I was only going to say hello to him.
He's answered better than anyone that we've had on here.
I think we clocked off for the episode.
Yeah, he's on fire. But congratulations, boys. I thought best knockout I've been to. I thought the best run knockout. Even being there and working on behalf of NITV, it was just seamless to be able to go in and do your job well, and everything worked so well. And I even got involved with some of the teams helping out. I thought it was just so easy for you to get your team organised, to get to warm-ups, to get onto the field, and seeing your little crew that work behind the scenes, and your father's there, obviously. Mark DeWeird was there. There's an army right behind the WAC team there. I thought they were all outstanding. They were so friendly and helpful, did a great job, and then congratulations on winning again, because it's not easy when you're running it, but far out. Team did an amazing job.
I think that was one of the things that we were most nervous about going in, is because a lot of our regular crew were going to be working on the organisation of the knockout. We thought that we'd do it a bit tough with the footy team because of it, but I think a couple other people to acknowledge on the officials tables. We had independent officials on every table across the thing, so we had a lot of people from across the state, from different teams, who all helped out on those officials tables. So very grateful them and for them and their support, and I think it made a big difference in being able to have a smooth running event too. So I think they controlled the fields really well, and thank you to everyone. Following on from what Dean said, thank you to everyone who was involved in it. So we were stoked about the weekend. What a weekend of footy though.
Brilliant games. I thought some of the best games I've seen. Probably if we look across knockouts that we've been to over the years, I don't think we've seen as many quality games of good teams going up against each other as probably what we got there. You know, we did the draw and we talked about the group of death, and that was just solid game after solid game in that pool. And then they also had that Pool C, which was filled with really good sides going up against each other, and exciting football and great matchups. So there were so many great games to watch. You couldn't blink on the Sunday, otherwise, you'd miss something, and you're sort of watching one result here and you're like, oh, there's another great game over there as well. And I thought for quality of football, for all the teams across the whole knockout, the level of professionalism a lot of them have gone to now, the preparation that they put into it, it's the best knockout that I've been to, and the best football that I've seen, and best quality teams that I've seen. So I was so proud, like as a black fella sitting there and going, this is what our pathways could be. I thought there was, and we'll talk about later, some of the little things that you've added in were outstanding. The little kids on the last day, you just watch that and they're playing barefoot football and they're putting their hearts and souls into playing for the Redfern jersey and the Walgett jersey, and the Mount Druitt was there, and I just thought, like, that's so good to see. Like, it was, and they can't wait now. I bet there's kids there that can't wait to get up there. The women's been introduced on the Sunday. The energy went through the roof when WAC played RAB on that field 1, and the game just elevated the whole event on the Sunday to another level. And because I don't know what it is about the women's football. It's very, very exciting to watch. The men's knockout is super. You watch some skilled football, but this is just all brutality and confrontation and physicality, and the girls just want to rip into each other at the moment, which we love.
Yep.
And that was another thing that I thought that was a real genius move. The draw was outstanding to participate in the draw and see what the level that you're taking to that and what you've put into it and things like that, and for NITV to do it. I thought that was a real buzz, to start it off like that. So some things that you've added to it, which is always do, and you work hard to take it to the next level. But I thought that was really good, Trenny, some of the stuff.
No, it was, and I guess like we discussed previously, Dino, with the amount of quality teams that were rattling off going into the knockout and big name players, big game players. It's spreading. Like, you know what I mean? There's no longer your one or two dominant teams. You're looking at a good, solid 15 plus teams that are very, very dominant now. And unfortunately, someone's got to lose. That's part of the knockout. But the games, man, far out. Edge of your seat stuff. I think my favourite game for the weekend was that Burke-Lapa game. Holy, it was intense, and 6-6 down to the wire. The bell goes, and TP, the brother boy Tony Pello. Wow, do not give him space at all, because giving myself goosebumps here just remembering it. It opened up for him, and straight down in the corner wins it on the.
I was swearing about him. I was standing there, so I was saying, "What's he going for the field goal for?" Because I'm about 50 metres out, and he was lined up for the field goal. I was like, "What's he doing? What's he going for the field goal for?" Bang, hits the gas.
Yeah.
How good. And then carried a few over the line with him.
Yes. Yeah.
What a try.
A bit of a genius player, isn't he? Some of them Burke boys are really, really starting to rise in their football and doing some great things out there.
Now, was it last year too they had that really close game?
Well, they've been on the wrong end of a few close ones for a few years.
I think Lapa got them. Dunga did a chip and chase or something last year, didn't he? And they got them on the bell or something.
Well, they said that was this right on the siren.
Yeah,
it's gone the other way. And
one of the clashes that I love from that game, Jade Anderson versus Jeremy Thurston.
Oh yeah,
the two fullbacks. How good were they? Jade Anderson's a freak.
I'm a massive Jade Anderson fan. Yeah,
he's pretty special player, isn't he? There were special players all the way through. I thought, and you see people bouncing out of different teams. The young 5'8", I think his name's Fuller for Tweed.
Oh, yeah. I was trying to claim him, mate.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're mob.
I don't know, but he was a special player. I watched him a fair bit over the weekend. He came up with some really special moments. The young Murger, I thought he was outstanding for Walgett. And it's going to be great to watch him, see how he keeps going. He's just a footballer, like you watch him.
Well, he's got that 3-year deal at the Storm too, so he's in a really, really good system.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to go leaps and bounds.
Lapa, obviously Jade Anderson, but they had some of their young boys coming through in the forwards do well. I thought the Boomerangs, they had some stars there, like obviously Tai and Davey Armstrong, and those boys always going to be special players there. But Ethan Roberts, I think young Ethan starting to emerge as a back rower. Geez, he got some size on him. He's a monster boy. And his old man there, he'd be proud of him. But he's starting to come through as a forward. There's a few of them there coming through, and it's pretty exciting to see. I thought Bunjalung had some special young kids as well in their team. Some of their outside backs, young Preston Smallwood, there was
speed in them too, didn't they?
Young Preston's gonna be good in Preston. You can see already he's building up. So we've got some players coming through.
I was impressed with them too. Who was your standout team?
WAC.
Other than
because I want to prove a point. So I thought WAC, and people ask me because I didn't panic on the draw with you. I still thought. And I stated this, that WAC's still the team to beat. I still thought that WAC's the team to beat. And the reason why is I think that, and teams have got to understand is that you know what it takes to win. You can have a great side out there and you can have great players, but you've got to have people in there that know what it takes to win the knockout. And I knew that you had what it takes to win. You created a winning culture. You created players, and Tyson's become one of them. That knows that when it gets tough out there, You've got to rise, you've got to battle through, and the reward comes. It eventually comes, and you just got to stick at it. And as hard as it hurts, and as much as you don't want to do it, that you got to find that way to get through it. And you got a little group there that know they love that battle of it, and you got to love that part, eh? You don't win knockouts, unless you love the toughest part when we're gone, we're beaten, we're busted, they're smashing us, they got all the momentum, they're rubbing it in our face. If you don't want to play your football then. And that's if you're going to win knockouts, you got to love playing football then. And I see too many teams when they go to the knockout, they love playing when they're 20 in front or they're 14 in front or they got that lead that they can't get beaten, and that's when they start to really jump around on the sideline and look each other in the eye and get pumped about what they got. Where WAC are the opposite. Like, you just look each other in the eye and do the stuff when you're down. And I just sort of knew that you wouldn't panic on the draw. You take them one at a time. You know what winning takes. He's got a jersey there that means a lot to you and stuff like that. So that's why, I knew War had a great team. They probably had a better team than you guys. But I just know that their jersey hasn't got what you have got in your jersey at the moment, and they haven't got the people around them yet that know what winning a knockout is. They'll keep hard and they'll keep earning and get there. And I knew the similar for Koori Boomerangs that you're coming up against, and Nanama as well in the final. I just always sort of felt like, these boys don't panic, they work hard, they know how to battle through. And I think that experience showed. You've got to be careful, though, because they're all learning and they're all coming for you and they're improving and they're learning what it takes. Red Belly Blacks is in that same situation. So
very good
I thought
team.
WAC was the team to watch and the most likely to win. I thought Yowies were going to go better than what they did once they come up against Nanama. I thought the Yowies were looking good to me, but they just didn't kick that extra gear.
You watched that game. You watched more of that game, didn't you? Because I ducked over to the Lapa Burke game when
Tyrone Peachy was just the difference between the two teams. The Yowies had a great young side, right, of good young players who play a lot of local footy up there. But they come up against a bloke who's dominated at NRL level, and when he clicked on, he was just a step ahead of them on a few plays. And did well. And then Justin Toomey White, I thought, was another outstanding player for
good footballer.
Nanama. So I like what Nanama were doing, and they're building and stuff like that. But Peach was the difference in that game. And I never mentioned Nanama all week in things, and Roy gave it to me about it. And I heard Peach was using me in their motivational talks too, and saying, Dino's written us off back, stuff him and all this sort of stuff. So I'm glad to give you the motivation, boys, and I won't make that mistake. I'll talk about you next year now, because they have got a good little side.
Very good side.
Good little players there. So Tweed was a team that really impressed me, and they got some great ball players. And Albie and AJ and that, they're a little bit older now, but they still got that little bit of touch of magic for them. And I just knew that they're a side you don't want to play. And they had War. That was probably my game of the knockout, was War versus Tweed, where Tweed were on top, and it was just... They had a chance to take a field goal, and Adrian's that experienced. He ran on with 3 minutes to go, and when he ran on, I said, he's running on to kick the field goal here. And he was tackled two, bro. He was in perfect position to kick the field goal to put him ahead by 1 point. He doesn't take the field goal. He shifts the ball. They end up not even doing anything with it. And then 2 tackles later, War goes the whole length. That was great effort by War. They kept fighting, and they broke him at the end. But I just thought, Tweed, kick the field goal, you're going to win. But they didn't. And I predicted them to beat War, but they just didn't hold on for that last.
Albie had a big impact, didn't he? Every time he come on,
mate, he's still got that. He's a bit more size, but he's still got that speed, that football ability, the ability to step and run at full speed, take you on. And I just thought he's a player you don't want to be coming off the bench. You don't want to be, having Albie Kelly, because he can do stuff against you. And they were impressive, Tweed. I thought they get a couple of, they're all Kempsey boys, and they got a couple of other good young players there in Kempsey that coming through that played up with Champo up there, and they could be a side the next couple of years. They get it right.
Champo staying up there?
Champo's staying up there, and I said to him, I said, bro, you're the one to bring this Kempsey side to the knockout. He's got these good young players there, young Nemo Davis there plays with him in the thing, and he could be anything, that kid.
So much talent up there, eh?
Yeah. So I think if they get it right, they could come into contention next year. But there's some young teams coming through. Yeah. But they've seen the standard that Wild would hold. And I felt like a couple of key things, and you fellas probably going to hate me for this, because I'm going to talk about all the secrets that you've got, but he's prepared.
We'll cut this out.
Prepared better than any team. You've got the right people in all the right boxes that work their butts off for the team off the field. And you've got a calm approach. Trenny and Matty are just calm. They think clearly. You know, they talk nice and they communicate nice and easy. And I was watching it, and I watched some sides, bro. They got no one back there helping the players on anything. Like, no one there to do warm-ups with players or rub players. You got Gadget that just works continuously all weekend, doesn't stop, and his crew that are around him there. You got coaches on sides that are more abusive than players and going off their heads at referees and getting into it. That ain't going to win you a knockout. Where you got coaches there to just sit there quiet and controlled and watch. And then you run your bench nice and coordinated and thing. And a lot of these sides go there and it's just who runs on, who runs. It's panic stations on the sideline. I just think that there's all these little 1%ers that add up, and Tyson's looking like smiling and going, don't give our secrets away. But there's all these little 1%ers that add up that equal to that performance. And that's why these players can deliver at what they do all weekend.
Well, it's funny you say all those things because all of those things we've been guilty of in the past as well. So we've lost a lot more knockouts than we've won, but we've been guilty of a lot of those little things in the past. And they are things that we've worked on to get better at. So it's funny that you picked up on some of that stuff, and we probably will cut that out of the edit before we go live. We can't have everyone know the secrets.
But you got to learn the lessons, eh, bro?
You got to learn the lessons. You learn the hard way.
I think Tyson's probably laughing at you because we're not as calm as what we look like. I'm always ripping into him behind the scenes, but
well, it's firing him up, and that's what they got to get the difference of. Is obviously you got to play knockout with a lot of mongrel. You don't win it unless you got mongrel and aggression, but it's always controlled and it's not outrageous, and it's giving clear messages and giving him a clear challenge. You know what I mean? Like letting him know this is your job, bro. Get out there and do it, and don't muck around. Don't let me down. Like all that sort of stuff. But it's just watching the game too. I watch Trenny a lot there. He's watching the game. He's noticing what's going on. He's clearing his mind. You know what I mean? Like there's no jumping around getting distracted by touch judges, ball boys, referee decisions. Like, well, not from where I am anyway. Maybe I can't hear him, but I just see that those little things add up, and he did it better than anyone. And it was really professional. It looked really professional.
No, I was really happy with how all that went. One team that you touched on, Blacktown, Red Belly Warriors, made their second Monday. 2 semi-finals, both ended up against us when we've been on a pretty good roll. But I thought they were even better again this year, and there was a few players that were missing from them. They had a great young hooker last year, young Maurice Trindle, and he led them around really well. But then this year, I thought their halves were great. Michael led at the back. And big forwards again. I think how many years have they been in the men's comp now, Blacktown?
They've been a while. They've been around a little bit, about 4 or 5 years, 6 years. Yeah.
That's not that long though, really, in knockout years.
They built their juniors good too. That's one thing. They've got one of the strongest junior clubs there that go through all the age groups and are building something for them young kids out there to all play for. They're coming along and they're learning
I'm pretty sure they all made the semis too.
Yeah, I think they did. They were all there on the Monday. They said all their teams made it through.
That's massive. Like they're a club to watch over the next few years. They're one not to sleep on.
I like them, bro, because they're young. They did improve a lot from last year, so they learnt lessons from players. And the fact they played just 2 years in a row, they're learning off the best. You know what I mean? Like, so they're going to come back next year and be even better. So they're a well drilled side. They know how to play percentage football at that top level, and they'll take away a lot of it. They had momentum going there. There was an important moment. This is when I talk of your victory, and it was the backs against the wall stuff that you did better than anyone else. You went down to 12 men. I can't remember who it was who got sin binned.
Grant.
Yeah, that's right. You got sin binned, and then they scored a try, and the momentum was going with them, and they're only might have been 4 points behind.
Yeah.
So it looked like here it goes. That's when you played your best football in that game, was against the backs against the wall. They got all the momentum. All right, let's knuckle down and then play the best football. And from then on, you went on and got on with the job. And it's those moments that count, eh? Like I've won knockouts. There's always a moment in there where we're going to get beat here, but we've got to react. We've got to do something, or we can just give in to it and lose it. So it's those moments. It seemed every time a moment came up against us on the weekend, I feel you've won the moment and turned the game on the momentum, and then the other teams couldn't.
And a lot of them were our defensive efforts, I reckon. A lot of them moments would come,
especially on your try line. You defended your try line better than any team. The red wall, is that what you're calling it?
Yeah.
I heard the red wall, and Champo gave that to me. He said they're calling it the red wall. And he goes,
that's what it is.
But every time he's defended the try line, he's actually bounced back out of that the next sets. And virtually, there was a few times there, went the full length. I remember Benny Barber kicked a 40-20 off the back of another one. There was a couple of there where he just went off your try line defending, maybe for 1 or 2 sets in a row, and then up the other end and then scoring a try, which really hurt some of the teams. It was a 12-point turnaround. They could have scored 6 at that end. They missed a chance. You guys come up here and scored 6 up there. So you broke a few teams with that over the weekend. So these are the little things that other teams need to learn, you know. That's what it takes. The other thing, and I'm glad Tyson jumped on, I was really keen, because you need an enforcer, and there's a couple of blokes, they went after you out there on the weekend, and I think you're taking it upon yourself in this wild team, because you're only a young kid a couple of years ago coming in there. It was like little baby cousins coming into the team, and now you're not the baby cousin anymore. You're sort of like the enforcer in the team. And I know a couple of them went after you, bro, but you stood up, and I really loved that. Like, you need someone to stand up, because if you don't, other teams, you know, they get the green light on you. What was that like, bro? Because there was a few challenges. There was a few little disputes. There's a few push and shoves. There's a few blokes went after you to belt you, and then you went to belt them back. But the thing I loved about it was every time you got in a bit of a scuffle with someone, or there was an argument, you got that ball, you hit it up, and you ran straight at the bloke. And that's where I believe with the toughness of knockout football, that's where it comes from, is if they're talking crap to you and that, you got to run straight at him and let him, give him the chance to hit you and drive you, and then he's got to do the same for you. That's where you're in respect, not this swinging arms and going at heads and all that sort of stuff. How did that feel for you, bro?
Oh, well, I think my first knockout was 2017 at Leichhardt, I think, and just over the past sort of couple of years, I feel like I'm sort of coming into my own and like sort of becoming like a sort of leader in the team sort of thing, and sort of Big George's and training sort of transitioning out of the team, and there's sort of got to be someone to sort of take their sort of place, or like try and play in their sort of shoes, and I feel like just taking that upon myself, and I don't know, just trying to do the best with my team, and anything that sort of that needs to be done, that tough carries or a big shot or something, just to lift the boys or lift the energy up when it's sort of low. I just sort of take that upon myself and just try and do anything for my team just to get us out of those little dark, like tricky moments and things that's going to lift the boys up and lift the energy up. And I think
What about the confrontation, bro? How do you deal with it? Because what I saw from you was you went, all right, sweet, when you were going at each other for the next little bit.
Yeah, no, it's kind of good. I like when I sort of get whacked or someone sort of just talks a bit of like crap to me or whatever. It sort of just lifts me up on when I'm like, not playing real well or whatever sort of thing. So I like them little challenges and the one-on-one battles, and I sort of just think it brings the best out of me, and love it. So it's good.
Because that's been the day. Like, you were a confrontational player. You're a cheeky bastard on the field, but and that's what it is. We're all right. We're going at each other for a bit here. We got to see who gets on top and who leads their team. But you don't back down. That's the thing, eh?
No, well, I mean, I didn't have a choice. Look at my two bigger brothers are. So I was always, taught by them. Stand up or be stood over. So I mean, I love the physical stuff myself. If someone whacks me, then that's it. As Tice was saying, it's game on. Like, let's rock and roll type stuff. And you need that element in your game to be like, he's the leader. Here's what he's doing. Follow that, because off the back of that, everything comes with it.
It's so true, eh? You need that guy to stand up, and the rest of them follow, and you can see it. Like, I thought Tyson was the one. I know Joel, he just doesn't quit. Jolie Thompson, he just goes all day. He's as tough as nails. He'll do every hard thing. But I think in the aggression and the confrontation, Tyson is the leader in the team. And as an old front rower, so I like watching it. I was really impressed by it. The other one that I couldn't get over, and like, I was just blown away, was I saw Latrell Siegwalt there last year. He was the player of the knockout because of his skill and his ability and his attacking play. And this year, he was my player of the knockout because of his toughness, his resilience, and his ability to just keep going and come up with a big play at the hardest of times. Like, when you watch it back, you'll see his moments of brilliance happen when you were under most pressure. he came up with the biggest plays when everything was going wrong for us. I think it was against Nanama. It might have been Red Belly where both markers went the same way and he split them and went through and found Will Kennedy up the middle. That was when they were rising at you. I think it was Nanama, wasn't it?
Nanama, yeah.
And they were rising in the game, Nanama, and they were putting it on you. And he'd been on there the whole time. He'd been dealing with Justin Toomey White, testing him, the big Stanley boy testing him in the game before. They giants compared to him.
He's only 20 years old, Sean Stanley.
He's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
And he's hard to stop. And
he's a very big boy.
And I remember, he is only young because we've seen him playing in the younger ages for years, like only probably
Good
2 years ago. I've seen him play. And they all tested him, and then obviously every game he's played, everyone's going to run at him in the little halfback, but he was just tough, and that's what he won my admiration for this year was he was still a brilliant player, but it was his toughness and his ability to just keep going. He nearly played every minute of every game, him and Benny Barber.
Yeah, well, it felt like last year he was a young boy. This year it felt like he was a man when he came into today. He got a bit of fluff on his cheeks in the day, but he that's what I thought. And defensively, and it's the same for Benny too. I thought two of the things that stood out for him was how strong they were in defence, because there was times there where we saw some massive shots. Like, who's that? you're expecting that it's the back rower. It's Trell getting in underneath him or Benny Barber getting in there and scooping someone up.
They were both brilliant, and Benny played most controlled that I've probably seen.
Yeah.
He just seemed to play like within himself, calm head. And I think he knows what he's got around him. So he was waiting for, I'll just keep calm and keep playing smart and doing what I need to do. Or he just makes football look that easy too. That's the other thing he does. He just runs so well. He makes football look easy.
I think he's relishing that leadership as well.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's ever really been afforded that real leadership role, even as an NRL player. He was an attacking genius and they let him, play freely. But for us, he takes on a leadership role, and he's one of the most dominant voices in the team. And ever since I think that he's really stepped up into that, I think his game's gone to another level again. At the ripe old age of 35 or whatever he's at the moment, it seems like he's playing a whole new style of footy that's still unbelievable.
Brilliant.
What's the run that he's on at the moment too? He's won something like five or six straight carnivals.
The Ben Barber effect is real, you know what I mean? And we did discuss it when he came in here, and he won his A-grade grand final, into the Murray Carnival, into the Mackay Carnival, into the Koori knockout.
And then this is after last year.
Yes.
He won Murray Carnival and knockout.
Yeah, Murray Carnival and knockout last year too. He's in a real purple patch of his career when it comes to knockout and carnival football.
And now he's headed up to Townsville this week, Townsville, Gordon Bar.
Well,
get the sports up there and put the money on him.
Far out. He's playing good footy. But across the park, I think there was a lot of good standout players from across all teams this year. I think, we touched on, obviously, Jade Anderson was one I watched again, who was amazing.
That Mason Williams for Nanamas, you can tell he got injured there towards the end. He's earned a lot of respect. He's a tough boy for a halfback. He goes
big boy too.
Toomey White, I thought,
like Jackie.
Yeah, he's a big boy and he plays halfback and he's tough and he does all sorts of things for his team. He was another real standout. Tyrone Peachy, obviously, I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah.
And he played his ass off too.
Ali Beale, well, geez.
Yeah.
He puts his body on the line, something shocking. He'd probably, for a little guy, he's probably one of the most ferocious defenders I've seen. I'm really impressed with David McGrady from Toomela. He got some slick hands and some skill about him and some size and stuff like that. And I don't know how old he is, but geez, he's a talent. And obviously Braden's, been doing well for a long time and different things, but yeah, he's a slick player. I like watching him. He reminds me of the old McGrady's, and I like watching him when he went up against
Glenn had a few cages rattled. I was saying to him about a few of our boys,
Yeah.
He was getting in under the boys' skin, and that's not usually his game, but he managed to rattle a few of us.
They have that little bit of fire, right? They had to go out there, a bit of fire.
Be rude of me not to mention Lyndon, because he's one of my favourites.
He's
I love watching Lyndon
gun
play.
Football player, Lyndon.
Yeah.
Very calm demeanour. He's he good kid, He's a real good kid.
He led him around the park well. Now, who was their fast player there that kept catching everyone?
G-Boy.
Was that G-Boy?
G-Boy, yes.
yeah.
See, because we've got some fast players, and there was a few times we went through and he
Yeah.
tracked them because I thought it was Lyndon. I asked Lyndon after the game.
What's the little headgear comes off the bench?
Chrissy Woodbridge.
Chrissy Woodbridge.
Tracked him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that shocked me. G-Boy, he could move.
G-Boy.
Ronald was saying he's the quickest he's seen.
Yeah, G-Boy is fast. Like
Yeah.
he goes past the fast. He's up that next level. He's
A lot of fast.
no. I think he's,
Liam Close played good for him as well, too.
Yeah, good player. He done well in Lismore too at the Lismore knockout. So
Yeah.
there was some standouts across
Just
the day.
rattled off the old Toomelah team, but
you had Big Dame to that there.
yeah,
Squad
they missed him, man.
And I don't want to draw him next year.
Same as Bunjalung. Like they had a really good team, and they're obviously missing Cody, they're missing Dane, they're missing Ryan. There's probably 3 experienced players there. They give them that little kick to go to the next level. I thought they were a good little side.
They look like
side.
a young team, eh?
Yeah,
Very young
they
team.
got some of their boys played 17s and then backed up and played the men's too. So keep an eye on that because they're red hot, the little young ones there. Preston Small is going to be a good.
Well, again, Lapa and Bunjalung, the standouts in the 17.
Yeah, well, that Lapa side, so young Darcy Smith he's a front rower there coming through. He's outstanding. He's going to be a really good footballer. The Lockie Moses there, bit of a skillful back rower there playing in there. They got some talent there. Dwayne Lyons, I like watching Dwayne play. He's a slick mover.
They look muscly, eh, them Lapa boys.
Yeah.
For 17-year-olds, like, what? Yeah, they look. I thought they looked. They look like a bigger, musclier team, especially for that age.
Some big boys in there. So
And then Bunjalung boys looked lean and
country boys,
Lean and
city boys
fast,
versus
country,
country boys.
yeah.
It actually was.
Yeah.
So no, they're coming through. It was good competition. The 17, the 15s was good. Narwhal made the final in that, and Dennis's boy Jalen, he's starting.
Were you happy with that? Were you happy with how the 15s went? Did you watch them much?
Yeah, no, I watched them every game. They did really well. Dennis's boy Jalen there is going to be a gun footballer. He's coming through, and he's got a lot of real. He's a tough kid. He hits hard. He just loves it. Little Tirui Lions in their side there too. He played really good, skillful, and they got some good young boys there coming through. And that's probably the next generation for now. And like disappointing for now. And they only had like 20 players in the men's team. They were really raking up, and sad to see a team that was dominant for a long time go right down that far. And that's a rebuilding phase. Everyone up there knows that they got to start again and put some young kids in. So they'll take a while, but that 15s is a start for them, And there's some boys a bit older than that too. Last year they had a good 15s and 17s, so they'll build it back up. And then the boys are trying to do that, so it'll take a little while for them.
We had our 13s and our under 9s there play, so we were pretty happy to have our 13s playing again. Like we don't often put in our junior sides. It's always hard unless someone's taken control of it. And shout out to Richie Boy Sharpley for taking control of that under 13 side and helping to give our young fellas a go, because we've all got young kids coming through there now too.
There's
so
a lot of
it's
them,
all the offspring between Grant and Dillo. They've probably got
15,
about,
I think.
Yeah,
Jeez.
they'll make up 2 teams on their own just between them.
They're coming through, but
And Willie, right?
Yeah, Willie's
Between them 3,
21 there. That's a knockout team between
I
them.
think we've got a full squad.
boys,
Yeah,
eh?
so there's a lot of juniors coming through, but I think it's great to see it though too. And like you said, we all go through our phases. No one's in a rebuilding phase at the moment, but it won't be long till you're back at the top, especially with them the next breed coming through as
I
well.
hope so. They got to learn to work hard, and they obviously they got to move with the times of the knockout too. And that's a lot of them old countrysides. They got to realise that the preparation, the off field, the making sure the players are supported and having the right staff around them. That's key now. We can't run football clubs like we did in the 90s and even the 2000s. It's advanced so much in the last 10 years, and the knockout is so physical and so demanding that you've got to have support staff there to look after your players, to make sure they eat right, they sleep right, and their injuries are taken care of. You're just not going to have a chance if you don't do that. So they got to move with the times a bit.
And I do know a lot of people say that they miss the old times and miss the old style, but the thing is that the old style of footy doesn't always win now. Like, it's not, you're not going to be able to...
Our communities have evolved too, Georgie.
keep
Like
up.
a lot of people always say this to me, like, we've got to go back to the days about what it was all about. But like if we're still playing the same football for the same reasons as what we did 50 years ago, it means we've wasted 50 years. It means that we
That's
haven't
true.
advanced the knockout and advanced what it means. And look, you look at our communities now; they are so different. My kids will never grow up in Armidale. They've never lived in Armidale. And I want them to be proud of Narwhal. I want them to be part of it. Your kids are the same. We don't get the chance. 90% of the mob out there don't get the chance to stay on country and live at home their whole lives. Everyone's moved. We marry people from different communities and stuff like that. So our kids, like my kids, will represent 3 or 4 different communities where I was only ever representing one, and my dad was only ever representing one on both sides of his family. And the kids these days, the young fellas, they've got so many other reasons why they play. They're connected to different mobs. They got a brotherhood with different people like that. We have mob that come in and find them where they fit in and all that stuff. It's so different, and it's professional. It's young players get contracts out of this. They get noticed by bigger scouts. So you got to do the best for yourself at this knockout. It's an opportunity if you want to take it, and it's changed. And look, our communities have evolved and moved, and we've got to all get with the times.
Yeah.
Like you got to try and do the best for your community, get the best players there, and prepare them the best way to try and win it. So that's what. You can sit and whinge and want to go back in time, but it's never going to happen. Or you can get with reality and go, well, let's prepare harder, let's work harder to get the right support around our team, be professional, make our players train harder and set up things so that they can perform at their best. That's how you're going to try and make roads towards winning it.
On the back of that one, and I agree with everything you said, who were your most improved teams for 2024?
I think the Red Belly Warriors were one of my most improved. I thought they were a side that really come good. Burke was up there. Although I know Burke's always tough and strong, but I feel they got a look about them as a club now, putting the women's in.
Yeah, I love what Mike's
it
doing
was
out
cool.
there.
They're organised. They got their marquees, their tents. They're knowing what it takes, and I think there's more to come from Burke. I think you're going to hear about them more in both the women's and the men's as we go. Obviously, Nanama to get where they were, but Roy's been building hard there, and he's going to keep going. They were really impressive as an improvement. But probably the one that impressed me the most and improved the most, and I'm going to hate myself for saying it, was probably the Boomerangs. The Boomerangs, I was really impressed by their side.
You've spent all year talking about now and
and we still hate them. We still hate them. And my brother-in-law's involved in running them in Brett. But I thought they did well. Him and Jace and the boys, Tobes and Mundara, they did a good job getting that side together. And it's they'll build on that and they'll keep improving. But this was a real mark line in the sand year for them. And I think they'll learn more from the loss than what they would have if they kept winning and going into the Monday. The loss would have hurt them and stung them because they had a great chance. Like, you just played war and then you had to play them, and they would have wanted to do better against us. But I feel that for Toby and Mundara and them boys in that side, they will learn a lot from that, and they've got to take the lessons and they've got to go and we've got to work harder. And obviously what they're doing's good, but still not enough. So you got to find the resolve to do more. And I thought they were my most improved side.
Yeah, no, I agree. What about your biggest upsets of the knockout?
Like I actually felt that there wasn't any upsets. I don't know, but I thought the one I tipped was Tweed to beat War. And they nearly did it. They were close to it. And I thought everyone was talking about the War team, but for me, even though they're not probably at their peak, there's better knockout players in the Tweed side, like Albert Kelly and Adrian Davis are my example. Kieran Vale's another one who can be outstanding at a knockout. And War's got a team full of great players, no doubt about it. But there's a couple here that are just geniuses at winning football games. And in a quick match, first game in the morning, I thought they're just a team I don't want to play. I don't want to play them fellas early in the morning, Tweed. And their skill and that Kempsey boys have all got that ability.
Now Webster playing it.
Now Webster, like there's just some tricky players there that are they're hard to handle. So that was my upset that I predicted, but it didn't happen. But I thought that most of the games went the way they were. Look, you could say that
there was a lot of 50-50 games too.
There was games you couldn't predict.
Respectfully were 50-50. So
yeah, and I just think with the professionalism now that the top teams have, and the preparation that goes into it, there's not many of them that are getting beaten by anyone or getting put off their game by anyone now. They're there's a bit of a gap there. They kick the gear, and these other teams, if they want to upset them, they're going to have to work a bit harder than what they do. So, yeah, I didn't think there was many upsets. What do you think? Anyone upset? Anyone you?
Look, I thought Lapa were going to win the knockout. So for me, them losing, even though it was against Burke, and watching the game, Burke deserved the win. Lapa were my pick to win the knockout. I thought they had a great squad.
They look good.
But then even still, like that's pretty much a 50-50 game that you're coming into that they played in. But just because I had them tipped, and a bit like you with tipping Tweed to beat War, Tweed might have been an underdog there. But,
You wouldn't have
also
been
think that they
shocked
could have won. It was still a 50-50 game, and I think there was a lot of ones like that. Like it was good to be there and watch a lot of them games live. Like even the All Blacks game, All Blacks Lapa had a lot of. They had a tough draw. They had a very tough draw.
Yeah, they had to do it tough.
They had a lot of good games.
The one thing about NAB is you play them, you beat them, it's going to hurt you the next game.
Yeah.
And I think that probably told a bit of a story there. They take a lot out of you to beat them, NAB, because even when you beat them, they'll still keep fighting. Like, they'll still keep challenging you. They'll still keep ripping into you, and they're not going to make it easy. They've got that passion and, that ability to try it right to the end, and something will come off. You know what I did love about the knockout, though, was the last-minute turns of games, the teams coming back or just fighting and coming up with a play. And that's something that I reckon that lies with blackfella football. And I talked about this previously when we talked about Redfern and Alexandria Rovers winning these grand finals here the last 2 years against Coogee in the last 2 minutes of play, scoring 2 tries. Like, I reckon that we've got this passion and this desire that burns, and the ability to try something outside the box when everything's going wrong. And if it comes off, you can win games. So there's a bit of that I love, that we just keep trying, and we'll try anything. We'll go outside the box, and they're the little sides that's why you can never go. They never say over in knockout football, because someone will try something. They will go. You're either going to let's throw it all in the wind, and they either score and beat us by 20, or we got a chance. But they'll have a crack at it, and they'll try things. And that's I still saw that out there amongst all the football that I was watching.
What about? Who had the best jerseys that you saw over the weekend?
I love Tweed's gear.
Yeah.
I like their gear that they had. I thought they looked really good. There's a lot of teams with good jerseys.
Who got me was Cabbage Tree Island. I don't know what it is about that yellow or whatever it is, but something they just pop out on the field. It might have just been that beautiful green grass that we had there,
It's looking good.
But them Cabo kits, I was trying to hit up one of them big boys for a pair of shorts or something.
Well, I like that too, is that the supporters, like the Tweed supporters, are all in that light blue, and that looked really good. Obviously, you had the WAC.
Suits Tweed though too, doesn't it? That colour. You're rocking the colours here now still.
Yeah. Tweed, Ed Z, Lancelot still supporting
Lance got you signed on.
Praising you up here, look, get me involved. And then obviously you had the red WAC, I thought looked really good on the field there. The Yowies always come with good gear, good supporters gear. Everyone's starting to realise that you got to. These are the 1%ers. You got to get everyone there and support in gear, and communities and supporters have got to do their bit by getting in the right gear, getting around each other, getting together. And
that other shirt that I like was that Redfern shirt, Redfern All Blacks T-shirt though.
Yeah,
not the game one. I was trying to get.
And the girls rocked that good. And we'll probably talk about the women's in a second. And it was good to see the Redfern women's just create their own buzz over the weekend. They sort of did it all themselves in a way, like. Yeah, and they sort of watched them from the start, and there wasn't many people around them helping them, because obviously the Sydney community the RAB community split amongst Sydney All Blacks and other teams and stuff like that. But the girls did it all themselves and built their vibe over the weekend, and it was good to see them because they were similar to you guys. They were drawn in the pool of death as well.
Yeah.
Every game was a tough game right from.
And they earn it. They earn it through tough games. I thought they were, you know what I like too is there's a lot of young stars coming through in that team.
They have. They've got a very young team.
Obviously, Lavina played really good too. But to see a lot of them young girls put their hand up, Becca Riley was good too. But them young ones...
They have. They've got this really good young team there now that's wanted to get their win in a knockout, and now they have. Well, the old brigade sort of got used to winning. Bina, for me, like she probably put herself down as the women's GOAT player, you know what I mean? Like, she did it again, and she's just got that ability to come up with the right plays at the right time, and especially when you got young ones that will do the work for you to give you the platform, and that's all she needs is front foot football and good opportunities, and she'll come up with good things. But I was impressed with Becca and Kyla. I thought
Kyla was unbelievable.
Kyla was probably the player of the tournament for me.
And she's had a few years of injury and that too, right?
She just played, and
she looks super fit this year, Kyla.
Really fit. She's been working hard, bro.
Defensively and then scoring them tries at key moments.
And she was aggressive. She runs the ball. She controlled their young forwards around them. She's a calm head. Yeah, she's the leader for the future for Redfern, and definitely. She definitely showed it. But
I'll tell you, who can whack is that Kate Fallon.
Oh,
there is nothing to her, and she just
She's been doing that since she played in the 16s in the girls and stuff like that. But her and Shiloh, don't run at Shiloh. That's another thing. And they got a little bit of a fiery pack there that goes. And
how old's Yalara?
Yalara's 20, so they're getting to that age there now, the girls. But they can hit and whack, and they're intimidating, and they loved it. And the thing is now for them girls is they got what they do next. They got to keep working hard and training hard. And I'll sit down with Lara and say to her, what do you do? Because the ability is there with her. She's just got to find that if you want to go to the next level, it's all about attitude and effort and discipline and training and lifestyle. That's the thing. So she gets
I hope that there's some big opportunities come off the back of that for them girls, because
the little ones in the Walgett side, the fullback was outstanding. Hard to stop. The centre, you can throw their names. I don't know. I thought even the Burke side, I thought they had some good players. The Burke, Tommy, her name is the number 9. She's a good tough footballer from out west. They had some little young ones there too that could run out wide. So there's some talent there coming through. We've got some runners, got some good players.
Yeah, well, I think for our team in particular, there's a lot of these young girls that got a lot of confidence off the back of being able to play in some of those tough games. And the first Golden Point win, first game, that was
I didn't get to see it, but it must have been some sort of game.
Call me biased, but that's one of the best women's knockout games I've ever seen.
That's
it was
because they had to go inside,
and it had a very big crowd there too to watch it, and it was just.
And that's cool too.
Yeah, it was unreal. Like the intensity of the game. Again, it's probably shows just how much the game's grown with our women being able to compete at a high intensity game, and our WAC women were amazing in getting over that. Like I helped coach with Bo Dela Cruz.
She does a good job, doesn't she, Bo?
Super coach she is, and just the vision and passion that she was trying to instill in them, teaching them all. Like, I mean, you're learning from the very best in the business off her. There's probably no one better I'd rather learn off.
I think she explains the basics really well too, eh? Like watching her breakdown of how to create a play. And, your timing on your passing timing, like I reckon she's a genius.
She's so good for the girls. And, look, she's always had to put her career aspirations in the back seat as far as coaching, because her husband's a coach. She's got little kids, young kids, it's not easy for time-wise for Bo, but you'd love to see her. And it will happen down the track when the kids get a bit older where she can fully put herself into that space and see where it goes. Because, her ability to read football and to execute skill and stuff like that, and then to see things and that, like, second to none. Like, for a woman, I haven't seen too many with that sort of vision and ability that she had. So, I'd love to see her progressing out of coaching. It's good to get her in there. And Kimmy and Bobby will be great for your young ones. Same as Chapo and Shay Lee being in that war team. Yeah. They're gonna be good for all them young girls there. So, it's going to be a rise, and these teams are going to come back hungrier next year. The women's is going to be hotly contested because the Yowies will come back too. They were missing a few of their stars. Caitlin wasn't there, so they'll get a few back, and the women's will be red hot next year. I can't wait for it.
No, we'll talk more about the women's game too. We'll get some of the winners on here, some of the competitors on here for a good yarn and talk more about it, because I thought it was one of the most evenly contested women's competitions we've seen too.
Yeah, Burke's emerging. You can see it.
Burke's coming.
I got it. It's funny. There was a lot of Western New South Wales teams right at the death in a lot of the competitions. I mean, obviously, we went years of Newcastle and Sydney sort of being dominant there for a long time. Seems the power was shifted
But
out
it shows
west.
that benefit of being of getting to host it around there too.
Yeah.
Shorter trip, you get more people available to play.
Crowd gets in there behind.
Crowd gets in there.
Get excited by it. I like it. I like it. Them little towns out there, they face a lot of disadvantage. You know, obviously I went out there and coached the Outback team, which is the Burke and Bree and Walgett and rep team from all that. And they were fantastic, the boys, and their passion for the footy out there. And it's good to see, you know, them starting to emerge, and they're young kids. There's always talent coming out of there, right? They're all born with footballs out there. So it'd be good to see how these talent emerges. Burke going to want to match WAC with your success soon. They're going to want to win one soon.
Well, like we said before, it doesn't last forever, so you've got to pass it on eventually, and we've got no complaints keeping it in the West.
No, that's good. I love what Mark Knight and Robbie Owen are doing out of Burke. Like it's, again, we talk about them prior to it, just how fit they all turn up, how well they're all well-oiled looking machines. You know what I mean? And TP steering the ship and all that with them, and Jeremy Thurston at the back, Acker's back row, like it's far out.
They're a good little team, haven't they?
They're really good. They've got a really good, strong core group of fellas that they've built on for some years. They're not looking for that quick success.
Camo in at hooker too.
Camo, hooker.
Camo's the gun player.
I'll tell you
not
what, he
looking for
tackled the
quick
legs off
success.
everyone. I think.
He's unbelievable, Camo, and he just goes about it quite unassuming, doesn't say too much, and just gets in and does his job well,
He's a
always
real-
challenging it.
Yeah.
So.
Followed by my lead. He's not much of a talker. He'll do his job.
Yeah, no, he's a great knockout player. It was good to see him out there too.
So let's talk about some of the exciting moments from the weekend, eh? So tell us, and each of you have to pick one, what was your best try of the weekend?
I have to go TP in that Burke Lapa game. I can't go past that. That was, he's a freak. That's me.
Run us through it.
No, well, I just, just far out when he picked that ball up and that space. I can just see it open up for him. It's like the clouds opened up for him. You know what I mean? The sun's shining, and he's
Because it would have been nearly 50 metres, yeah?
I reckon about 50 metres. Yeah, 40-50 metres out, and
And the hoot had already gone.
Yeah.
Hooter had already gone.
gone.
Gets it.
Yeah, and he just that explosiveness off the mark, like you're there doing these ones beside who you're with because you're just standing up. It's just
It was a freak.
gives me goosebumps now. Just
Well, I
picturing it.
was on the field watching Nanema and Yowies when this happened, and Nanema had won game one, so I didn't get to see this. There's one thing I was spewing about that. I was wanting to watch that.
We'll have to roll that one out for it because it was a moment. It was a freaky moment.
Definitely show it. There was a freakish try I saw Blake Ferguson against Burke set up. He ran across field and they come out of line to whack him, and there's a few on him, and the boys are trying to get at him, and you just couldn't get at him, and then he went through and then beat a couple of defenders, and he put one away there, and that was just a freakish moment to say, gee, that's a freakish play from him. There was a good try in the women's Yowies versus Redfern. They kicked across field, and Bina kicks across field on a bomb, and Darcy Simpson come flying through and catches it on the fly over the
that's
try.
mad.
But they called her back for offside, and she wasn't. She wasn't offside. So that was a really good try because it was a freaky sort of one, you know. That was up there with one of the good tries I've seen in the women's game for a while. It was a perfect crossfield kick.
I'm going to follow on with Trenny. I was sort of walking home when that Burke game was on, and I sort of, was standing right down near the try line when Tony Pillow sort of opened up for him, and I was literally standing like right in front of him, and he's obviously good mates with like Money Troyd and that, and straight after he scored, he come over and just sort of slapped him up, so sort of a pretty cool moment for me to sort of be there and see that and just open up the way it did, and the way all the boys celebrated, so that's probably going to be my favourite moment for that.
I tell you what, speaking of Troido scored a few mad tries too, eh?
He scored about 30 or 40. Seemed like it.
Well, that's what I asked. I thought he had a few disallowed though too.
Yeah.
What do you reckon was our try of the knockout?
Well, look, I'm going to go our women's first, and I'm going to say Nika Riley in that Golden Point game, the Golden Point try.
That was cool, that try.
Exciting.
The way the ball shifted and her put down, like we've actually got a little bit of footage of it in the slow-mo, and it's
One
back,
hand,
and That's my favourite women's one. In the men's,
There's some good
I
ones.
think Zaya actually. Emma Zaya scored a pretty cool one in the corner with the one he put down.
Oh, when he dived.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
He had a couple of
Who was that one
highlight tries
against?
as well. I think
It was on that last day. Red Belly Warriors.
I don't think
Might have been.
I'd,
It was down that sideline.
yeah,
down that
yeah.
He flashed.
corner,
We'll have to find the footage somewhere.
Yeah.
I think Benny Barber threw a long ball to someone, and it's when he just went hands. The hands were perfect all the way through. It was, and then it just hits him out there, and he just went
Yeah.
like a flash down the sideline and dived and scored. I remember it was just you shifted the ball from the right. It was perfect hands. Every pass was perfect in the play, and then hits this little speedy winger, and he just goes flying like a flash down there. It was a good try.
What about the biggest hit that you saw of the weekend?
Oh, I'm going to have to say Zaya again. It's,
Fergo.
yeah, may have been a little bit over the legal limit, but
Now,
look,
what's the weight differential there?
Oh, you'd have to say 60 kilo nearly. What's
Fergo's
Zaya?
a big human. Fergo would be nearly $1.10.
Close to it. Zaya'd have to be 70.
70 tops, hey.
Yeah,
There was some physical
55. I'm going to put him at.
But I reckon that was a big moment for him. Him
Yeah.
picking up Fergo, slamming him on his back. And the slow-mo of Ferg just sitting there.
He was shocked by it.
It was cool.
I reckon
Fergo's good.
and there's a little highlights package going around of the Redfern women's versus Burke with some of the hits they were putting on in there. Jeez, they were wailing them. And then,
I could feel him from the sideline.
and against Yowies, there was some massive hits that young Shiloh Mundine come up with. Like, I think if you put a little collation of all them hits that they come up, and there's a little video package of it going around. Geez, they were smashing some of them Burke girls early. Gee, they were physical. And that's probably, that was one thing I said to some of the girls at half time. Stop trying to kill them and just be calm and defend, and then put more into your attack. Like, they were trying to go that hard in defence that they would then get the ball back, and then they'd be a little bit tired and drop the ball in attack. I said, sometimes you just got to go, just make the tackles here. Let's get control in our defence, and then let's put more into the attack to roll through the middle and get down there and play. But they were just that brutal trying to kill everyone in defence, and it was nearly costing them because they were a bit panicky then in their attack. But
It's like you always going for the kills. Hey, I love
he
it.
come up with some good shots too.
He did. He had some big game-turning shots.
I'll ask a question.
All right.
Could you have it back in Bathurst again? And would you? It ticked every box for me, and I'd love to see it back there. But could you have it? Would it be something that you haven't ruled out going back there?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, there was a lot of talk leading up to it. I mean, there was a lot of controversy. It's the first time we've been out that way in 13 years to Bathurst. So I know that there was a lot of people, a lot of coastal teams weren't as excited to get out to the country as they were to be able to have them shorter trips that they'd had in previous years. But for us, we focused on what we wanted to do and what were the strengths of the venue. And I think if there's two things that you can't fault, it's the quality of the fields, and the access to the parking. You know, the fact that there was nearly 4,000 parking spots right alongside the field, you can't beat that. And then the quality of the grass. Like, I was walking around on the Monday when the under-9s were playing over on field 2, and I was walking around barefoot. They were playing barefoot, so I wanted to walk around. And just feeling it then, after it had been, they'd played on that field for 4 straight days. It had been hammered, and it was still beautiful.
The best fields I've probably seen at the knockout.
Unbelievable.
The council out there did an amazing job prepping those fields. I think that's the best set of fields that we've ever seen at the knockout. And even the space around the grounds, and just it was fenced. Every field was fenced, and which is security, right? And it's protecting everyone. I thought it was really well set up so that we averted a lot of problems. Like, it just, all sorts of things can go wrong when you haven't got the fencing around the fields properly. And, our crowds, they tend to get over keen and eager, and they run onto the field, or they walk onto the field watching and stuff like that. But it was just all controlled really well.
Yeah, well, a lot of those things were added expenses that we had to do. But I liked them too. I reckon I really liked them. But I think as far as where we end up next year, I always loved travelling to a new town every year for the knockout. You know, I feel like it was passed around a lot more. And back when I was a kid, there was smaller towns that were able to host it regularly. I remember, you know, we had a lot of the smaller country towns win, even going up to Nambucca and places like that, Nambucca, Koori.
Tiny little towns, eh?
You know, like you get around to all these different towns, whereas now you end up being a lot more limited because of the size of the place that you need to be able to host this many people, and the type of venue that you need to be able to host this many people. So as much as I'd love to be able to travel around to somewhere else next year, I'd love to be able to do that. It's got to be able to
match it all.
To match it.
When do you reckon you'll make a decision? You're not going to rush it, are you? It takes time for this thing because, you know, like most clubs make a decision early in the next year. Like and people are like asking the question now. I'm like,
yeah.
Then it's not something that you'd consider in the next month, is it?
We won't mess around. We'll still try to move on it as quick as we can. I think last year we announced early December, and then now like we've obviously got Timmy's fight in the next couple of weeks, so we'll sort that out. But as soon as that's done, I'd love to be able to be on the front foot, getting everything ready for next year. So that's the first thing that you got to lock away is where's it at. So that's what we'll aim to do, something by November, December at the absolute latest.
But obviously being from Bathurst, you're happy with it all out there?
Yeah, I thought it was good. And the weather, you know, we survived with the weather, but you know, because I remember in 2011 it rained and it made it a bit miserable. And you've seen what happened in the South Coast with the rain and the mud. It can make it a miserable experience, but it's the footy always saves you and the joy of the knockout always saves you. But as far as being a host, the weather can make a big difference on how much people enjoy being there.
So you like 4 seasons in 1 hour at Bathurst, mate? Windy,
hot,
cold, and the wind was freezing at times. And
even moving from the sun to the shade. I was burning in the sun and I stepped in there and I had to chuck a blanket on.
See, tricky old weather there. But yeah, I thought even the community of Bathurst, I thought there was a lot of real good people around talking. Go to the pub, you go to the club and the motel. They're really nice people there where I stayed. I thought they really sort of embraced it. A lot of the fellas there, they wanted to talk about footy in the club, a lot of people. So
I was surprised how many come down to watch the games too. A lot of them old footy boys were down
heaps
there.
Of old footy fellas there. I'll tell you a good thing that I was with Tice yesterday. Just knowing the growth of the knockout. We're down around San Susie, Ramsgate area and walking through there. Going for a walk along the beach. But having these old Greek guys say, because we had the WAC, we were still repping WAC, eh, bruh?
Still doing it today. Look at this. What bloomers you got on? What bloomers you got on?
I pulled this out the wash, so it might be a bit smelly. Sorry, Dino, but just sort of better rep loud and proud again. But you know, we had old Greek guys, Lebanese guys, Aussie guys. Like everybody was saying, "Oh, congratulations on the win," and we're like, "Oh, shit," you know, like we're sort of a little bit speechless about it because. You know,
so much good feedback.
Knockout footy is all about black fellas, and then you obviously expanded to being able to watch it on Fox as well as NITV now. So more people are getting to tune into it, and just hearing the congratulations from them, like well done on the win and all that, was like pretty cool. We were a little bit gobsmacked about it, eh? Like, and then we're saying, oh.
We signed autographs, Brad?
Nah, Benny. I was lucky I was with Benny because he was getting all the praises.
Actually, we got a couple of staff discount drinks last night because one fella remembered Benny was the player of the tournament that was serving us. He goes, he is having a couple of drinks with the player of the tournament. I was like, yeah. He goes, yeah, on the house, boys. And I was like, thanks.
But it's catching on. Everyone's watching it. The Telegraph's talking about players of the knockout and Fox Sports are showing. They're telling me, people texting me everywhere saying, we're all glued to the knockout here at the pub and enjoying the coverage and stuff like that. And what that means for all of our communities is more opportunities, you know, and there's more money to be invested, more sponsorship hopefully will come along to the communities because they see it's a higher profile event. It's been shown. I seen James Boland Rudder there, JBR out there
Yeah.
supporting Bundjalung. He was on the executive at the NRL and is doing fantastic somewhere else working, but he got his company to go and sponsor Bundjalung, you know. Like,
Yeah, nice.
So there's chances for people to see teams and get behind communities and hopefully that's what it all means. Bigger exposure, more professional run events means more money and sponsorship and support, more opportunities and pathways for our young ones. And that's what it's about. Like in the end, where we all compete, we love football and we all that, but it's an opportunity for our young ones to get involved in the pathway and to be seen and get noticed and better themselves. And you're seeing that's happening out there, and we just got to keep progressing and keep pushing forward.
Well, Dino, I reckon that's spot on what you said there. One thing that I will say is that we talked about it leading up to the knockout, that we're worried about the Devon, we're worried about the chicken. It was all safe, even though KFC is only 2 blocks up from the field. So they all survived. Everyone got their fix, and even the after party. Big Noise rocked the after party. Ted Simpson rocked the after party. He's mad on getting up on the mic, eh, Ted?
He loves it.
What's his go-to song?
Neon Moon or something like that.
True. He loves it.
Yeah, he loves it.
He loves it.
He's the man of the off-field stuff at the knockout year in, year out, isn't he?
The coach of the year. But there was a lot that we learnt from it too. There was a lot of things that we're going to want to try and improve some things too. We'll learn from it and grow and keep bringing a good knockout. But we'll have a couple more wrap-ups over the next few weeks. We'll make sure that we get on our winners from the women's and let them have a good chat about that women's comp, because, again, I reckon it was one of the most evenly contested women's comps that we've had at the knockout for a while. And, we'll see where else we can roll in over the next few weeks. But it was a good weekend. I really enjoyed it. And, I'm missing everyone now, I reckon.
Yeah,
you get that little to the next one.
I had all the boys at my house yesterday, or day before they all left on the... What day are we on today? I'm getting lost with days.
Thursday today, brother.
Tuesday. Had all the boys there, and, man, I think I almost cried myself to sleep, eh? I was that sad and depressed with them gone, so... Thanks, my big cuz Tice come around and give me a little cuddle, and...
Tice there to snuggle up too.
Assured me it was all going to be okay, and it's going to be a long 12 months.
You got to wait 12 months to do it all again.
Well, lucky they got us here to sit here and rehash some of the great memories from the knockout. So we'll keep rolling them out for you and keep you getting your knockout fix over the coming weeks or coming months. We'll see how we go. Thanks for tuning in.